Mill accused me of cheating and threw all my things outside because my newborn son is ugly? I, 28F, have been married to my husband Mike, 30M, for 3 years. We recently had our first baby, a boy named James. What should have been a happy time turned into a nightmare because of my mother-in-law, Linda, 55F. Linda never liked me. When Mike introduced me to his parents, Linda made it clear she thought I wasn't good enough for her son. I'm from a working class family, while Mike's family is rich. Linda always made mean comments about my job as a nurse, saying Mike could do better than someone who just changes bedpans. But Mike and I fell in love and got married anyway. Mike and I met at a charity event. He was there with his friends, and I was volunteering as part of my nursing program. We liked each other right away because we both loved helping people. Mike was different from other guys I'd met. He was kind and didn't care that I wasn't rich. He liked that I worked hard to become a nurse. We got serious fast. Within a year, we were talking about getting married. That's when I first met Linda. Mike warned me that his mom could be difficult, but I wasn't ready for how mean she was. When I first went to their house, Linda looked at me like I was dirt. She barely shook my hand and fake smiled at me. During dinner, she asked me lots of questions about my family, my job, and my plans. She frowned more with each answer I gave. After dinner, I heard her telling Mike he could do better than that girl. She talked about a family friend's daughter who was in law school. Mike stood up for me, but I knew this would be a problem. Even though Linda didn't approve, Mike and I got engaged a few months later. Linda wasn't happy. She tried to make Mike wait to get married, saying we were too young. When that didn't work, she tried to plan a big, expensive wedding we couldn't afford. Mike said no, and we had the small wedding we wanted. Linda was angry the whole time. She even gave a speech saying she hoped I would rise to their level of being in their family. It was embarrassing, but Mike and I tried not to let it ruin our day. After we got married, Linda kept causing problems. She tried to set Mike up with other women, even though we were married. She said Mike was settling for me and that our kids would be common because of my family. Mike always defended me, which made Linda dislike me more. Linda would show up at our house without warning. She'd criticize everything, our furniture, our food, everything. Once, she even brought a girl she wanted Mike to date, pretending they met by accident. Mike was so angry he didn't talk to his mom for weeks after that. Despite Linda's meanness, Mike and I were happy. We both had good jobs. I became a head nurse at the hospital, and Mike was doing well in his family's company. We wanted to have a baby, but we waited until we were ready. When we told everyone I was pregnant, Linda wasn't excited. She said she hoped the baby would look like Mike's family. She came to every doctor's appointment, even though we asked for privacy. She questioned everything we did, from our doctor to the vitamins I took. As I got close to having the baby, Linda got worse. She wanted me to live with her for the last month of my pregnancy, saying she didn't trust Mike to take care of me. I said no, and we had a big fight. When it was time to have the baby, I was in labor for 36 hours. It was really hard, but Mike stayed with me the whole time. When James was born, we were so happy. He had lots of dark hair, just like Mike. We stayed in the hospital for 2 days with our new baby. I was tired but happy. Mike called our families to tell them we were coming home soon. Linda said she was coming over to help, even though we said we wanted some time alone as a new family. When Mike drove us home, we were extremely shocked to see that all my things were thrown all over our front yard. My clothes, books, and nurse uniforms were everywhere for all the neighbors to see. Linda was standing in the doorway, looking smug. I was shocked. Mike was angry. He told me to stay in the car with James while he dealt with Linda. As he walked to the house, Linda started yelling. "How dare you come back, you cheating whore!" She screamed. "I always knew you weren't good enough for my Mike, and now I have proof." Mike was confused. "What are you talking about?" he asked angrily. Linda pointed at James in the car. "That baby isn't Mike's. No one in our family looks that ugly as a baby. You cheated on my son and now you're trapping him with another man's baby." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Mike tried to explain, but Linda wouldn't listen. She kept saying I was no good and that she was protecting her son from a cheater. I got out of the car with James, crying and begging Linda to stop. But she kept yelling mean things at me. Mike had enough. He told Linda to get out of our house. She refused, saying she was there to help her son and grandson, forgetting that she just said the baby wasn't Mike's. Mike went into the house and got Linda's suitcase. He brought it out and said, "You need to leave. Now. You're not welcome here anymore." Linda thought Mike would take her side, but he didn't. "Mom, you need to go," he said firmly. "What you did is unforgivable." Linda realized she lost. She took her suitcase and left, yelling that she'd be back to save Mike and James from me. After she left, Mike and I took James inside and put him in his crib. Then we talked about what happened. Mike was really angry at his mom. He couldn't believe she would accuse me of cheating and try to kick me out of our house. We spent hours bringing my stuff back inside and cleaning up. Mike's phone kept ringing with messages from Linda and other family members. Linda had already told everyone her lies about me cheating. That night, after James was asleep, Mike and I decided what to do. We agreed that Linda couldn't come to our house or see James until she said sorry and showed she could behave. Mike said he wouldn't talk to his mom for a while. The next day, I called my parents and told them what happened. They were really angry and offered to come stay with us to help. We said yes. It's been a week since this all happened, and things are still bad. Linda keeps calling and texting, sometimes saying sorry and sometimes accusing me again. Mike's dad is trying to make peace, but we're not changing our minds. Some of Mike's family think we're being too hard on Linda. They say she was just trying to protect Mike. They want us to forgive her to keep the family together. But others understand why we're angry and support our decision to keep Linda away until she can be nice. I feel bad for Mike. This should be a happy time with our new baby, but instead, he's dealing with family drama and his mom's betrayal. I'm trying to support him and take care of James, but I can see how much this is hurting him. I'm angry and hurt too. I've always tried to be a good wife to Mike, and now I'm a good mom to James. To have Linda attack me like this and try to ruin my family is almost too much. This is really hard on both of us. I'm dealing with all the emotions of having a new baby, plus all this drama. Mike is trying to be strong for me and James, but I can see he's tired and stressed. We're not sleeping well, not just because of the baby. Mike has thought about getting a restraining order against Linda, but he's worried about how his family would react. We don't want to make things worse. We've talked about moving to a different city to get away from all this drama. But we like our jobs and our house, and it doesn't seem fair that we should have to move because of Linda's behavior. Mike tried talking to his dad, hoping he could talk sense into Linda. But his dad doesn't want to get involved. I think he's used to letting Linda do whatever she wants to keep the peace. I always thought family was important, but now I'm not sure. Is it worth keeping a relationship with someone who can be so hurtful? Even if that person is your mother-in-law? Mike and I have talked about going to counseling to help us deal with this. We know we need to stick together, but it's hard when we're both so tired and upset. Plus, with a new baby, it's hard to find time for counseling. Things got even worse last week when Linda showed up at Mike's office. She made a big scene, crying and telling everyone that Mike was keeping her grandson from her. Mike's coworkers were shocked, and his boss wasn't happy about the disruption. Mike had to explain the situation to his boss, which was embarrassing and stressful for him. Then, Linda started calling my workplace. She told my coworkers that I was an unfit mother and that I had trapped her son with another man's baby. My boss was understanding, but it was humiliating for me. I was worried it might affect my job. Mike's sister, Emma, 27F, got involved next. At first, she sided with Linda, believing the lies about me cheating. She called Mike and said some really hurtful things, accusing him of choosing me over his real family. Mike was really upset by this because he and Emma had always been close. But then something unexpected happened. Emma came to our house one day when Mike was at work. She said she wanted to see the baby for herself. I was nervous, but I let her in. As soon as she saw James, her whole attitude changed. She could see how much he looked like Mike, and she realized Linda had been lying. Emma apologized to me and promised to talk to the rest of the family. She became our biggest supporter, defending us to Linda and the rest of the family. This caused a big fight in Mike's family, with people taking sides. Linda didn't like that Emma was on our side now. She started spreading rumors that Emma was jealous because she wasn't married and didn't have kids of her own. This hurt Emma a lot. Things got even crazier when Linda hired a private investigator to follow me around. She was convinced that if I had cheated once, I must be still cheating. The pie followed me to work, to the grocery store, even to my doctor's appointments. It made me feel scared and violated. When Mike found out about the pie, he was furious. He confronted Linda and threatened to get a restraining order if she didn't stop. Linda cried and said she was just trying to protect her son, but Mike didn't believe her anymore. The final straw came when Linda tried to file for grandparents' rights. She went to a lawyer and tried to get legal visitation with James. Luckily, the lawyer told her she didn't have a case, especially since James was so young and she had never even met him. All this stress started to affect my health. I was having trouble producing enough milk for James, and I was losing weight rapidly. My doctor was worried about postpartum depression. Mike insisted I take some time off work to rest and recover. Mike's dad finally realized how serious the situation was. He came to our house and apologized for not stepping in sooner. He promised to deal with Linda and to support our decision to keep her away from our family. Now, 3 months after James was born, things are finally starting to calm down. Linda has stopped calling and texting as much. Mike's family, for the most part, understands our position. Emma visits regularly and has become a great aunt to James. So, Reddit, Ida for supporting Mike in kicking his mother out and refusing to let her see her grandson? Update 1, 6 months after the original post. It's been 6 months since my last post, and so much has happened. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. It's been a roller coaster, and I'm grateful for this community. Here's what's been going on. Linda's behavior got worse. She started showing up at our neighbors' houses, telling them lies about us. She said we were bad parents and that they should call child services. Some neighbors believed her and started giving us dirty looks. Others came to us and told us what she was doing. It was embarrassing and stressful to have our personal lives spread all over the neighborhood. One day, Linda came to our house when Mike was at work. She banged on the door and yelled for hours. I was terrified, holding James and trying to keep him calm while Linda screamed outside. I called the police, but Linda left just before they arrived. The officers took a report but said they couldn't do much since she was gone. After that scary incident, we decided to install security cameras around our house. The stress started to affect Mike's job. His boss called him in for a talk, saying Mike seemed distracted and that his work was slipping. Mike had to explain everything that was happening with his mom. His boss was understanding but warned Mike that he needed to focus on work or it could affect his position in the company. This added financial stress to our already tense situation. My parents came to stay with us for a while to help out. They were great with James and gave Mike and me a chance to rest and spend some time together. But Linda didn't like this at all. She started spreading rumors that my parents were trying to turn Mike against his real family. She even went as far as to call my dad's workplace and tell them he was an alcoholic who shouldn't be trusted around children. It was a lie, of course, but my dad had to deal with questions from his boss, which was humiliating for him. Things got even worse when Mike's cousin Amy got married. We weren't invited to the wedding because Linda had told the whole family that we didn't want to be part of it anymore. She said we thought we were better than everyone else now that we had a baby. Mike was really hurt by this. He and Amy had been close growing up, and he had been looking forward to being at her wedding. Emma, Mike's sister, tried to stand up for us at the wedding. She told everyone the truth about what Linda had done, how she had accused me of cheating and tried to kick me out of my own home. This caused a huge fight at the reception. Some family members took our side, saying Linda had gone too far. But others still believed Linda's lies and accused Emma of betraying the family. The fight got so bad that the bride, Amy, ended up in tears. Her new husband was furious and kicked everyone out of the reception early. Amy later called Mike, crying and saying her wedding was ruined because of our family drama. Mike felt terrible, even though it wasn't his fault. After the wedding disaster, Mike's family was split down the middle. Some stopped talking to us completely, blocking us on social media and refusing to answer our calls. Others called to apologize and say they believed us. Mike's uncle Joe, Linda's brother, was especially supportive. He told us he had always known his sister could be difficult, but he never imagined she would go this far. Linda then tried a new tactic. She started being super nice. She sent gifts for James and cards saying she was sorry. She even sent Mike and me gift cards for expensive restaurants, saying she wanted us to have a nice date night. At first, we were suspicious, but part of us hoped that maybe she had finally realized how wrong she had been. Mike especially wanted to believe his mom had changed. He missed having a normal relationship with her. Against my better judgment, we agreed to let Linda visit. We set strict rules. She could only come when both Mike and I were home, and she couldn't be alone with James. At first, everything seemed fine. Linda was polite to me and doted on James. She even brought a homemade meal, remembering how much Mike loved her cooking. But it was all an act. On her third visit, when Mike went to the bathroom, Linda tried to make a run for it with James. She had her car running in the driveway and a packed bag hidden in her purse. If my mom hadn't been there to stop her, she might have succeeded in taking our son. We called the police immediately, and this time they arrested Linda for attempted kidnapping. Seeing his mother handcuffed and put in a police car was devastating for Mike. He broke down crying, feeling like he had failed both his mom and his son. Linda spent a night in jail. The shock of being arrested seemed to finally wake Mike's dad up to how serious the situation was. He came to see us the next day, looking tired and sad. He said he was filing for divorce from Linda and apologized for not believing us sooner. He asked if he could still be part of James's life, promising to respect our boundaries. After a long talk, we agreed to let him visit, but made it clear that he couldn't relay any information to Linda. Mike was relieved his dad finally saw the truth, but also heartbroken that his family was falling apart. He started going to therapy to deal with all his feelings. It's been helping him a lot, giving him tools to cope with the stress and guilt. As for me, I went back to work part-time. It was hard leaving James at first, but it's been good to have something else to focus on. My coworkers have been really supportive, especially after they found out about all the drama with Linda. My boss even let me adjust my schedule so I could be home when Mike's dad visits James, which has been a huge help. James is doing great, despite all the chaos around him. He's growing fast and looks more like Mike every day. It's bittersweet sometimes, knowing he won't have a relationship with his grandmother, but we know it's for the best. We're doing everything we can to surround him with love and positivity. We've become much closer with Emma during all of this. She comes over a lot and is wonderful with James. She's been a real rock for Mike, helping him remember the good times with their mom while also supporting his decision to keep Linda away. Emma even stood up to Linda when she tried to turn Emma against us again. Emma told Linda she needed professional help and that she wouldn't have a relationship with her until she got it. Linda didn't like losing control of Emma. She started telling people Emma was on drugs and that's why she was taking our side. She even went as far as to plant drugs in Emma's car and call the police. Luckily, the officers were suspicious of the anonymous tip and didn't charge Emma, but the incident was scary and humiliating for her. The drug accusation caused problems for Emma at work. Her boss heard the rumors and, even though there was no proof, decided to let Emma go to avoid any potential issues. Emma was devastated. She had worked hard for her position and now she was unemployed because of her mother's lies. We offered to let Emma stay with us while she looks for a new job, and she accepted. It's been nice having her around, although our house is getting a bit crowded. Mike's dad is trying hard to make things right. He offered to pay for family therapy for all of us, including Linda if she agrees to participate. Mike and I thought about it for a long time and finally agreed to try it, but only if Linda agrees to get help for her behavior first. We had our first therapy session last week. It was incredibly difficult. Linda cried a lot and said she just wanted her family back. She talked about how lonely she's been since Mike's dad left her. The therapist was firm with her, telling Linda she needed to take responsibility for her actions and understand the harm she's caused. Linda didn't like hearing that. She yelled at the therapist, accusing her of taking our side, and stormed out of the session. Mike was upset after that, feeling like we'd taken a step backward. After that disastrous therapy session, some of Mike's aunts and uncles reached out to us. They said they had heard about what happened and were sorry for believing Linda's lies. They asked if they could visit and meet James. We're considering it. We've been hurt too many times to trust easily. We're also talking about changing our wills. We want to make sure that if anything happens to us, Linda won't get custody of James. We're thinking of naming my parents and Emma as guardians. So that's where we are now. Things are better in some ways, but still complicated. Linda is still causing problems, but we're stronger as a couple and as a family. Any advice on how to move forward and heal as a family would be greatly appreciated. We're taking it one day at a time, but sometimes it feels like we're still stumbling in the dark. Thanks for listening and for all your support. Update 2, 6 months after Update 1, 1 year after original post. It's been another 6 months since I last wrote here. Not much has happened actually, but I want to thank everyone for their advice and help. Here's what's been going on. Mike's job is in trouble. His company is changing things around, and they might let some people go. Mike could lose his job. We're really worried about this. We're trying to save money in case Mike does lose his job, but it's hard. We've had to pay so much money to lawyers because of all the trouble with Linda. Somehow, Linda found out that Mike might lose his job. We think one of Mike's work friends must have told her. As soon as she knew, she started calling and texting us all the time. She keeps saying she wants to help us with money if Mike loses his job. We know she's just trying to get back into our lives, so we're not answering her messages. Then Linda started showing up at Mike's work. She kept saying she needed to talk to Mike about something important in the family. She did this so many times that Mike's boss had to tell her she couldn't come there anymore. This is making things really hard for Mike at work. We're worried it might make it more likely that he'll lose his job when the company changes things. All this stuff with Linda is starting to affect James too. He's been having bad dreams at night. He gets really upset when we leave him with babysitters now. He cries and doesn't want us to go. We've also got some new problems with the law. Linda found out somehow that we want to change our will. We want to make sure that if something happens to us, Linda won't be able to take care of James. When Linda heard about this, she got really mad. She's saying she'll fight us in court if we try to change the will. She's telling people we're crazy from all the stress and can't make good choices. Our lawyer says Linda can't really do anything about this, but it's still making us really worried. Mike's dad is trying to help us, but he's got his own problems. He and Linda are getting divorced, and it's not going well. Linda is saying all sorts of crazy things about Mike's dad. She's also trying to take a lot of his money that he saved for when he gets old. We want to help Mike's dad, but we don't have much money to spare right now. So that's where we are now. Some things are better, but it's still really complicated. Edit, a lot of people are asking me why our family is having financial problems when I stated that Mike's family was rich. There you go. You have found your answer, Mike's family is rich. That simply means his parents, not him. Update 3, 1 year after Update 2, 2 year after original post. Looks like I finally found the password for this account and it's been a year since my last post, and so much has happened. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support both in the comments and DMs. It's been a tough journey, but we're still standing. Here's what's been going on. Mike lost his job. The company let go of a lot of people, and Mike was one of them. It hit us hard. We had some savings, but with all the money we've spent on lawyers because of Linda, it wasn't enough. I picked up extra shifts at the hospital to help, but it's been tough. Linda, of course, saw this as her chance to swoop in. She started calling and texting Mike nonstop, offering money and saying how she could help if we just let her back into our lives. We ignored her at first, but she wouldn't stop. She even showed up at our house one day with a check, trying to force her way in. Mike slammed the door in her face. I was so proud of him for standing his ground. But Linda didn't give up. She started telling everyone that we were struggling and couldn't take care of James properly. She called Child Protective Services on us, saying we couldn't afford to feed our son. They came to check on us, and while they quickly saw that James was well cared for, it was humiliating and scary. Mike's dad tried to help us out. He offered us some money, which we reluctantly accepted. We needed it, but we felt bad taking it because we knew he was struggling too. His divorce from Linda was getting nasty. Linda was demanding half of everything, including his pension. She was dragging things out in court, making it as expensive and painful as possible. Then things got even crazier. Linda somehow got hold of Mike's resume and started sending it out to companies, pretending to be him. She even set up fake email accounts in his name. Mike started getting calls for interviews he never applied for. It was a mess. We had to spend hours contacting these companies to explain the situation. Some of them thought Mike was unstable and blacklisted him. It's made his job search so much harder. Emma, Mike's sister, has been our rock through all of this. She's been helping us with James, job hunting with Mike, and running interference with the rest of the family. But it's taking a toll on her. She's exhausted and stressed all the time. We found out she's been taking anti-anxiety medication to cope with everything. We feel terrible that our problems are affecting her so much. We thought things couldn't get worse, but we were wrong. Linda started a smear campaign against us on social media. She created a Facebook page called Justice for Grandma, which has now been deleted, where she posts all sorts of lies about us. She's saying we're abusive, that we're turning our child against her, that Mike is an alcoholic, he's not, and that I'm having an affair with Mike's boss, I'm not, and Mike doesn't even have a boss right now. Some of Mike's family members believe her. His aunt started leaving nasty comments on my Facebook posts, while his cousin cornered Mike at the grocery store and yelled at him for abandoning the family. We've had to block so many people. It feels like we're losing our entire support system. But the worst was yet to come. One day, we got a call from James's daycare. They said Linda had shown up, claiming she had the right to pick up James. Thankfully, they knew about the situation and didn't let her take him, but it scared us to death. We had to pull James out of that daycare and find a new one, which was a nightmare with our financial situation. After that incident, we decided we needed to take legal action. We filed for a restraining order against Linda. The court hearing was brutal. Linda played the poor, heartbroken grandmother act to perfection. She cried and said she just wanted to see her grandson. But our lawyer presented all the evidence of her harassment and the attempted kidnapping. The judge granted the restraining order. We thought that would be the end of it, but Linda just got sneakier. She started sending flying monkeys after us like she always did. Meanwhile, Mike was still struggling to find a job. The fake applications Linda sent out had really messed things up for him. He finally managed to get a part-time job at a local hardware store, but it's not nearly enough to cover our expenses. I'm working overtime at the hospital, but with all the legal fees, we're barely staying afloat. We had a scare last month when James got really sick. He had a high fever and was throwing up. We had to take him to the emergency room. The whole time, I was terrified that Linda would somehow find out and show up at the hospital. Thankfully, that didn't happen, but the fear was real. And the medical bills are another financial hit we really can't afford right now. Mike's dad's health has taken a turn for the worse. The stress of the divorce and everything with Linda has really affected him. He had a minor heart attack last week. He's okay, but it was a wake-up call for all of us. Mike feels guilty, like all of this is somehow his fault. I keep telling him it's not, but I know he's really struggling with it. We're trying to support Mike's dad as much as we can, but it's hard when we're barely keeping our own heads above water. Emma's been staying with him, helping him recover. But that means she's not around as much to help us with James, which is making things even more difficult. Linda, of course, is using Mike's dad's health issues to play the victim. She's been posting on Facebook about how she should be allowed to visit her dying husband, he's not dying, and how cruel we all are for keeping her away. Some people are falling for it, sending us angry messages. We've had to change our phone numbers again. Linda kept finding ways to contact us, no matter how many times we blocked her. It's frustrating having to constantly update our contact info with work, James's daycare, and everyone else. But it's worth it for the peace of mind. So that's where we are now. Still struggling, still fighting, but also growing and healing. Linda is still causing problems, but we're getting better at dealing with them. We're stronger as a couple and as a family than we've ever been. We're focusing on our little family, on healing, on building a happy life despite everything. Edit. Just a small update, and I didn't want to make a full post about it, but Mike finally got a lead on a better job. It's not in his field, but it's full-time with benefits, which would be huge for us. He's got an interview next week. We're trying not to get our hopes up too much, but it's hard not to. This job could really turn things around for us. Final update, few weeks after update 3. Wow, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of support and kindness I've received since my last post. So many of you have reached out through comments and DMs, offering advice, sharing similar experiences, and just sending words of encouragement. It truly means the world to us. I've read every single message, even if I haven't been able to respond to them all. Your support has been a bright light during some really dark times. Some of you have even offered to help us financially or with job leads for Mike. While we haven't accepted any financial help, your generosity has touched us deeply. Now on to the update. It's been about a few weeks since my last update, and I wanted to share what's been happening with our family. First, some good news, Mike got that job he interviewed for. It's not in his original field, but it's a stable position with good benefits. The pay isn't as high as his old job, but it's enough to keep us afloat. We're so relieved to have a steady income again. Mike's really enjoying the work too, which is great to see after all the stress he's been under. Unfortunately, Linda hasn't given up. She's gotten more subtle in her attacks, but they're still happening. We found out she's been sending anonymous letters to our neighbors, telling them we're bad parents and that they should keep an eye on us. Some neighbors have come to us about it, and most of them already know about the situation. But it's frustrating to feel like we're always under a microscope. Mike's dad is doing better health-wise, but the divorce from Linda is still dragging on. Emma has finally found a new job and moved out of our place, but she still comes over often to help with James. We've also made some tough decisions recently. We've decided to move to a new city, about 3 hours away. I know we used to say no to this, but we never expected the situation to become this bad, and since Mike had lost his previous job, this decision wasn't a bad one to make. Mike can just transfer with his new job, and I've actually found a position at a hospital there. It's scary to leave our support system, but we feel like we need a fresh start away from Linda's influence. We're not telling anyone in Mike's family where we're going, except for Emma and Mike's dad. We've also filed for a more permanent restraining order against Linda, which covers our new location as well. I know this is somewhat unsatisfying ending for you all, but this is just life. I probably won't make any new updates, and this will be the final one. And to everyone who's followed our story, sent positive thoughts our way, and offered words of encouragement, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You've helped us stay strong when we felt like giving up. Edit, a lot of people are asking if we're still in contact with Mike's dad and Emma. Yes, we are. They're the only ones who know where we're moving, and we plan to have them visit once we're settled. Mike's dad is even talking about retiring to our new city once his divorce is finalized. As for Emma, she's planning to come help us move and get settled. We're so grateful for their support.